Emily and Jack seemed to live a life others could only dream of. Their relationship appeared flawless, a perfect mix of love, respect, and admiration. Jack was the kind of husband people admired, diligent, thoughtful, and completely devoted to his wife. Together, they were a strong duo, two individuals who seemed to complement each other in every imaginable way. From their relaxed weekend brunches to quiet nights snuggled watching movies, Jack adored Emily with a love so obvious it touched everyone around them. Even 5 years into their marriage, Jack's eyes still sparkled with the same light that had shone on their wedding day. He believed with all his heart that Emily was his soulmate, the one person who made him feel whole. Yet, as the years passed, Jack noticed small changes, subtle cracks in the foundation of their seemingly perfect life. Emily, who had once shared every detail of her day, now appeared distant. Her words became curt, her laughter scarce. She avoided his gaze more often, her expressions hiding something he couldn't quite name. When they were together, it felt as though an invisible barrier separated them, her thoughts elsewhere. Jack tried to dismiss these signs, telling himself it was just the stress of her demanding new career, a high-level marketing position with long hours and frequent travel. But deep down, an unease settled in his chest, a gnawing worry he couldn't ignore. The first betrayal warning came on a Friday night. Emily was heading out for a girls' night, something Jack always encouraged. He watched her leave with a smile, telling her to have fun. But as the evening progressed, her messages became sparse, each text shorter and less engaging than the last. When she finally arrived home late that night, her appearance set his heart on edge. Her clothes were slightly disheveled, her hair messy, and there was a faint but unmistakable trace of cologne. Jack's stomach twisted, but he forced himself to brush it aside. He didn't want to be the type of husband who doubted his wife without reason. Emily had always seemed loyal, or so he believed. 2 weeks later, another crack appeared. Jack was helping with the laundry when her phone buzzed on the counter. Without thinking, he glanced at the screen. The message froze him in place. "Last night was unforgettable. When can we do it again?" His heart sank as though gripped by a cold hand. He set the laundry down carefully, taking a steadying breath. Emily noticed the shift in his demeanor, snatched the phone with a forced laugh and said, "Work stuff, just a joke from a client." Jack tried to smile, but the seed of doubt had taken root. The words replayed in his mind endlessly, a relentless echo leaving him unsettled. He began observing Emily more closely, watching every small action, every subtle change in her mannerisms. The quirks he once cherished now seemed like clues, each one adding to the growing suspicion. The truth revealed itself on a rainy Saturday night. Emily kissed him goodbye, saying she'd be working late again. Jack returned her kiss but felt the weight of suspicion pressing down, suffocating him. Unable to ignore it any longer, he grabbed his keys and followed her, keeping a careful distance and turning off his headlights. His heart pounded with fear and dread as he tailed her car through unfamiliar streets. Finally, she stopped at the parking lot of a small, dimly lit bar across town. Jack parked far enough away to remain hidden. His breath caught as he watched her step out. By the door stood a tall man with dark hair and a wide, easy smile. Emily's face lit up as she approached him, laughing in a way Jack hadn't seen in months. Then she wrapped her arms around him, her laughter echoing in the night. In that moment, Jack felt his world collapse. The image of her embrace seared into his mind. He didn't follow them inside. Instead, he sat in his car, frozen by a storm of emotions: anger, betrayal, despair. Eventually, he drove home, the emptiness of the house a cruel reminder of what he had lost. He poured a drink, then another. The alcohol dulled the sharp edges of his pain just enough for him to think with clarity. Staring into the glass in his hand, Jack faced a painful truth. This marriage was beyond saving. The life he believed they shared was gone, and the woman he cherished was no longer who he thought she was. The betrayal cut deeply, but instead of giving in to anger, Jack resolved to act in a way that would make Emily feel the weight of her choices as sharply as he did. Over the next week, he planned meticulously, every move deliberate and precise. Jack quietly transferred funds from their joint accounts into one she couldn't access, each transaction measured with care, leaving no trace of haste. Simultaneously, he began packing his belongings, taking only what he needed, piece by piece, making sure the house looked untouched. He coordinated with his boss to work remotely, giving him the freedom to vanish without raising suspicion. Jack intended to leave before Emily even realized he was gone, leaving her with an empty home and the full impact of her betrayal. The night before his departure, Jack checked into a hotel suite nearby, ensuring Emily would have no clue where to find him. He knew she'd likely spend the night with her secret lover, a thought that steeled his resolve. While she was out, he returned home one last time to finish his plan. On the kitchen counter he left a single note, chilling in its simplicity. "I know everything." No explanations, no apologies, just 3 words carrying the full weight of his heartbreak and her deceit. He made one final sweep of the house. Every memory of their life together, photos, mementos, reminders of love, was gone. Their shared home had become an empty shell, echoing the void in his chest. Closing the door behind him, he didn't glance back. At the hotel, he poured a glass of whiskey and sat by the window, watching the city lights flicker against the night sky. Minutes crawled by, each one inching him closer to the moment Emily would return to the ruin he left behind. He imagined her face as confusion morphed into panic, finally realizing what she had lost. At dawn, Emily returned, the scent of another man's cologne lingering on her clothes. She called for Jack, expecting him asleep in their bed. Silence greeted her instead. Flicking on the lights, her eyes fell on the note on the counter. The stark simplicity sent a chill through her. Panic overtook her as she rushed from room to room. Closets were half empty, drawers barren. Even their wedding photos were gone. Every trace of Jack had been removed with meticulous care. Hands trembling, she grabbed her phone and dialed him repeatedly. Each call went to voicemail. Her messages grew frantic, her voice breaking as she begged him to return, but there was no reply. Jack had disappeared, and his silence spoke louder than any words ever could. In the following weeks, Emily's life began to unravel. She tried everything to find him, reaching out to friends, family, and even his workplace, only to learn he had taken a remote assignment. Every failed attempt and unanswered message chipped away at her composure, leaving her with nothing but regret. The man she once risked everything for no longer held allure. What had seemed thrilling now felt hollow in the cold, unflinching light of reality. Alone and abandoned, Emily faced the consequences of her choices. Meanwhile, Jack started anew in a different city. Surrounded by strangers, he found comfort in the chance to rebuild. Memories of his failed marriage no longer haunted him. Instead, they became lessons he carried forward. Slowly, he pieced together a life filled with peace and self-reliance. Bitterness faded, replaced by quiet satisfaction. He had reclaimed control of his story, refusing to let betrayal define him. Looking back, he felt no anger, only calm understanding. He had given Emily exactly what she wanted: freedom. Yet in the end, it was a freedom she had trapped herself in.